What's up, YouTube? We are back at it. Today we're putting the roll cage, or starting to put the roll cage on the 96. Let me show you what we got here. So this is a complete roll cage kit. It's a hybrid kit from Exofab. And basically the way this thing's going to work is the A-pillar is going to come up through the inside of the fender, out at the top, along the exterior here. There's going to be kind of a halo piece around the top, and then the B and C pillars will go through the body, so that'll give me something to attach a harness bar to on the inside. The front piece comes down into the rock slider, which I don't have on there yet because I just finished the frame stiffeners on the passenger side. The driver side's been done for a while. That's the side we did the video on. So this is what you get when you order it from Exofab. You get basically 2 packages of pre-bent, pre-coped, 1 3/4 diameter, 120 wall DOM. All right, check it out. This is what it all looks like unwrapped. Lots of pieces, but as you can see, everything's labeled. When you buy the kit, you get the installation instructions emailed to you. And from what I can tell in the instructions, it has the name for every piece in its location. So you can just look at the picture and go, okay, that's XJRS6. And some of them make more sense, like halo extension. Obviously that goes on the back here. So it'll just be a matter of laying it all out, but the pieces are all labeled, so you don't have to guess where they go. So that's super cool. So now I think the first thing I'm going to start with is the roof piece. The interior is still completely in it, and I'll have to get at least like the seats out and pull the carpet back. And I'm not going to do that right now. I want to get the roof piece just laid out up there, make sure it sits the way I want it to, looks the way I want it to, and then I'll pull the interior out. We're kind of limited on space in here, and I can't have the whole interior ripped out of this thing just sitting somewhere. So alright, here we are. Step 1 for me has been the inside of these, where they cut them, has a lot of like slag built up. So there's 3 joints where you're going to have a slug that you put in, and all 3 of those you're going to have to go in there and grind the inside of the pipe just to make it smooth. So I did that, and I also took a flap disc and just kind of beveled these, so I've got a nice channel to fill in. And I went ahead and drilled holes so I can do a, what do they call that? A rosebud. A rosebud weld, just to help with these connections. So that's step 1. Then I'm going to get this whole roof piece laid out on the floor, tack it together, and then set it up on the roof and see how it fits. Okay, so at this point I've got the entire halo portion prepped and tacked together. So what I'm going to do is set it up on the roof of the Jeep and see how it fits. If you'll notice, it sort of runs together towards the back. I know that may be hard to tell in the video because of the camera lens, but I'm assuming that once I put the cross pieces in it, it'll spread it, or I'll have to spread it to get those pieces in, and that'll sort of set my width. So what I'm thinking at this point, I've seen this cage on a couple of Jeeps before, and if you notice, the roof line of the Jeep is not completely straight. It has kind of an arch to it. So I'm gonna try to put this up there, kind of eyeball it, and see if I can put maybe 2 very slight bends, like at the B pillar and C pillar, to just sort of make the cage follow the roof line. I just visually, there's something about that straight bar up there on the roof with that slight curve just doesn't look great to me.
I don't know where it's gonna be. When we tweak this thing where it's absolutely perfect.
Alright, so that's what it looks like sitting on there, and you can clearly see the gap here, and then it touches the body, and then it's gapped back here.
If this is a 26-hour job, It's fixing to turn into a 60-hour job.
And we may even put a slight bend in the front to kind of match the windshield. So
it's not, you know, we're not bad mouthing.
no, for what this kit cost, I would 100% buy it again. I knew this when I bought the kit. I looked at enough pictures of these things installed on these Jeeps. I already knew that I was going to try to bend this before it ever even showed up. Nothing against the kit. This is just something that I'm going to do just because I just want it to look like it was a custom bent kit. So we're going to drag this thing back off, weld those joints up, and then get it in the bender and see what we can do with it. So we got it set up, and we're just going to put some bend in this thing until we think it looks good, and then we're going to put it up there and dry it.
Let's take it out and flip it up, like I said, it looks like. That's just laying on the roof there, so we're following the line.
Yeah, but you can just see.
They picked up just.
Yeah, like right there. God, that looks so good. Alright, so we put the final bend across the windshield piece, and man, does this thing look good. I mean, it's just super tight to the body now. I mean, obviously it's going to have to come up a little bit, but
as the contour goes,
just the fact that, I mean, from right here you can barely tell that that cage is sitting on the roof of this thing because the tube matches the roof line so closely, and it looks killer. From this point forward, we'll see how the rest of the stuff fits now that we've changed the shape of the halo slightly. Alright, so we have made some progress here. These pieces, the cross pieces and the vertical pieces are all just in here for mock-up. Nothing is welded yet. I've had it up on the roof like this to see how it fit. And it hits the roof here on this piece, which is causing the whole cage to sit up higher than I want it to. So I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do about this. So I got that to do, and then the center piece hits the roof right in the middle. So I'm just going to put a slight arch to this piece. And the only reason it's doing that is because of how I shaped the sides to get this thing as low as possible. So now I'm having to modify some of these other pieces. And in the very back, the last crossover piece, which is here, this piece that goes all the way in the back caused the cage to sit like the tube was kind of outside, like here on both sides, and then as it went closer to the windshield it almost got narrower. So I took about 5/8 off of that tube just with a flat disc and a grinder. Took my time. I had marked around it with a Sharpie, and I just ground it out and took about a total of 5/8 off of it, which was enough. The last time I had it up there, I put that piece in and ratchet strapped it together, and it pulled the cage in enough to where the gap all the way down the side looked pretty even. So leaving the middle one the full width, because if you look, it curves out a little bit. So that piece and this piece being the width they come, and then narrow in the back, makes this thing have that sort of curve to it that the body has. So that looks really good. So what I'm going to do at the moment is knock this out, go ahead and arch it, and basically from looking at it, what I need is I need it to touch here and in the middle, and that'll have my height set. Right now it hits in the middle and there's a gap on the outside, so I need to just slightly curve that. So and again, I'm having to do all of this because I just want it to sit super low. I want this thing as close to the body as I can get it. None of this you would have to do if you just wanted to take the cage out of the pack, put it on the Jeep and weld it together. It would all fit. So just keep that in mind if you're thinking about doing this, or if you're doing this at home and maybe you don't care how close it sits to the body, then just take it out, weld it together, and go for it. Alright, so it's got just the tiniest little bit of play where it is still touching right in the center. So I could probably bend it just a little bit more. I mean, you can see it's barely has a curve to it at all. So I might put just a little bit more on it and call that good. Which we added a little bit of bend here because this was hitting the roof right under here with this slid all the way back. So we put this thing in our bender and managed to get just a little bit of bend kind of between here and here. It did dimple that just a little bit, but that's fine. We'll paint it straight, as they say. But it also kind of lowered this. We took a little bit of bend out of this by flipping this upside down and just barely tweaking it, because this piece from the front was kind of high, which looked a little strange. So we took a little bit of bend out of that. We robbed the stands from the Comanche, which for the first time has 4 40s bolted up to it.
Yeah,
and it's sitting on.
Lock at the front end, but
Yeah. It's a little wonky, but it's sitting there. Ka-chow. This side over here is money. I mean, that is absolutely a perfect fit in my eyes. We're just a little bit high on this front corner. We think probably when we welded it, it just drew, or when we tacked it all together, it might have drew a little bit. And when we ratcheted the back together, it tweaked it a little bit. So we'll have to try to push that down probably before it gets final welded. Or worst case scenario, we'll just have to figure out how to pull that thing down when we do the A-pillar and get it in place. And it's not a whole lot that it needs. But man, this thing looks killer. That's it. So the next step's going to be, we got to get the front fenders off so we can get the A-pillar pieces lined up, and I got to get my rock sliders on. And the only reason I haven't done that yet, I think I'm going to plate over this with like a 1 3/4 wide strip of probably 1/8 inch or maybe 3/16 plate over this, because I'm going to weld the rock slider back to this in places. And I had done that before, just straight to the body, and it was fine, but I think that will give me a little bit more strength and I can get a nicer weld. It's just super hard to weld to that body. So that's still to do. And then A, B, and C pillars in, and this thing will be done. So
that's a wrap for part 1.
yeah, that's the first half of the roll cage build.
And we got some pretty sweet footage. this thing is turning out way better than what we thought it would.
Yeah, it looks great. We're still in progress. We're not completely done, so stay tuned for part 2. It'll be coming soon. I am at some point going to add probably a D-pillar bar at the very back. Probably on the outside. We've talked about coming out of the end of the cage and doing like a real sharp curve down and following like the corner of the hatch down the corner of the tail light, tying it into a rear bumper. And I'm also going to do a lower windshield piece, and then like a V for the windshield piece. Or would that be up or down? Down.
Is it down?
I think it's down, ain't it? Where's it up?
Oh, I don't remember. I think either way would probably
upside down V or a right side up. It'll be a triangle or a V.
Yeah. And basically, if any questions, feedback, hit us in the comments below and tell us what you think.
Yeah, I know we've skipped some stuff along the way. Some of it seems, kind of obvious. You'll get the directions when you buy the cage kit to give you the dimensions and everything that you need. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And maybe one day we'll see you out on the trail.
One day.
And then we got the other side propped up. All you need is a Yeti 45 and a Matco shallow impact 1/2-inch drive socket set to space it up, and this thing is absolutely perfectly level. I don't know. That's got it close. If you had a couple jack stands or whatever, you could do the same thing, but that's what we got.